Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Welcome everyone to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. How are you all doing, people? I hope you all had a great week. I know I did. And I know at the same time that for many of you animation fans, it's been been a lot. Oh, and by the way, just a quick mention that I see Paleo Steno is in the chat wall right over here. Hey, Paleo, how you doing, man? But anyways, I have heard through the grapevine that apparently this is an episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast that some of you have been very much hyping up for. Not necessarily that there's going to be like a special anniversary or that we've reached a special milestone or anything like that. It's mainly because of one of the topics that's going to be discussed over here. And I think it is safe to say that this can be categorized as one of the biggest animation or even one of the biggest entertainment news of the entire year. So we know that we are going to be in for something absolutely crazy for this one. And by the way, before I go and continue, I just want to go and give a couple of shout outs because unfortunately there have been a couple of notable people who have sadly passed away this week. Yes, we did get more celebrity deaths, not as much as last week, but this week, however, there have been a few significant ones. One of them, of course, being Carlo Bonomi, I believe that's his name, the original voice of Pingu. So yes, sadly, the man who has originated Noot Noot is no longer with us. And then there is another one whom, very shockingly, actually happened a few hours before starting this episode of the podcast, which is Olivia Newton-John. Yes, this honestly completely came out of left field, but sadly, she lost her battle to cancer and is no longer with us. So, may both of these great entertainers rest in peace. I know like a lot of people have fond memories of Pingu, especially with Bonomi's performance, and Olivia Newton-John. I think that's very self-explanatory as she was quite a legendary actress and singer of her time, and not to mention the unforgettable performance that she did playing as Sandy in the Grease movie. So once again, may both of them rest in peace. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go right into the action, and I would like to go and ask the chat wall, are you guys ready for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks! You know, honestly, I just noticed the chat wall, and I think this is the first time I have noticed that instead of pressing F for respect, a lot of people are just going Noot Noot. So that's the thing. I think that's going to be the new thing right now. Instead of paying our respects by pressing F, we all scream out Noot Noot. Okay, so it's nice to see that everyone is now ready for today's episode. That is great to hear. And now with that said and done, it is now time that we shall go and get this episode started. And with our first one, well, we might as well go and get into the big story out of the way. Let's get into this one, and we shall be discussing about Warner Brothers Discovery. And before I really get into this, I just want to go and state that, as you probably have seen throughout the week, there has been a lot of development on this story. There was just so much to go and unpack. And I will confess that last week, I was very much busy working on videos and other aspects in my life. There was just so much going on that I didn't necessarily follow a whole lot of the news as it was developing. Admittedly, like, I was a bit off of like social media, which many people could say is actually a good thing. But for most of the day so far, I actually did manage to go and catch up and do so much research as possible to really know what is truly happening with all the announcements that have been going on related to Warner Brothers Discovery, and why things have been so chaotic, and why the company right now has been getting so much backlash, including the CEO, David Zaslav. So, what I'm going to be doing, however, is going to be something completely different, something that I don't normally do with AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, is that instead of making one big story over here, what I'm going to do is actually a two-parter. So I'm actually going to be splitting this entire story into two segments, where the first one, I am actually going to go and talk about all the plans that Warner Brothers Discovery wants to do with its streaming platform. And then there's also going to be the second part, in which I talk about all the cancellations, like really the big reason why people have been so upset over Warner Brothers Discovery and what they have been doing and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully all this can make sense. And by the way, I just want to go and quickly mention that I will do the best I can to try to cover everything that is going on, but please do not hesitate to try to add into the story if I am missing anything, or if there's anything you want to go and correct me on. I know this is such a massive story to try to go and take in, especially with everything that's been going on. So if there's anything that I have forgotten about, or like something to go and clarify, please do not hesitate to do so. Okay, so with that said, let's get down into it. Let's get things started. Let's talk about Warner Brothers Discovery. And the big thing that Warner Brothers Discovery has talked about is that the inevitable has finally happened, considering that Warner Brothers and Discovery has officially merged at the beginning of, well, not necessarily the beginning, but early in 2022. Both those companies have now combined together, and the one thing that we knew it was going to happen has finally started the process, and that is the fact that the company is going to take its two big streaming services, HBO Max and Discovery Plus, and they will go and combine them together. However, there is going to be a little bit of a catch when it comes to this announcement, because some of the main things we want to know about, we don't know about them yet, but they have revealed other aspects as well. Like, number one, in terms of the things that we don't know about is the name. We don't know if it's still going to be called HBO Max, or if it's going to go by a completely different name, or if it's going to be related more to Discovery Plus and all that kind of stuff. So we don't know what the name of this new combined platform is going to be. Another thing that many people don't know yet is regarding the price. Now, HBO Max is pretty notorious for having a higher price than most other streaming platforms right now, but we don't know if the new price of this new WBD streaming platform is either going to be higher than what people are paying right now for HBO Max, or if it's going to be lower, or if it's going to not change at all, or anything like that. But there is some new information that they did reveal, however, some things that we do know about, like number one, the fact that it is going to be released next year. We're not going to be getting it anytime soon, and it's not like they're going to go and immediately make some drastic changes onto HBO Max right now. Well, then again, that would be debatable, but I will be getting to that later. However, they did confirm that in the summer of 2023, that's when WBD is going to release their new streaming platform. And on top of that, they have also confirmed that not only is there going to be a paid version of it, but there's also going to be an ad-supported free version, where you don't necessarily have to pay to have the streaming platform, but of course you're not going to get as much content as you would with the paid version, and you're also going to get bombarded by commercials. And the thing with Warner Brothers Discovery and with the CEO, David Zaslav, he's pretty much hoping that this will end up becoming very successful and really put them in a big platform in terms of the streaming competition, or the big streaming wars that is going on, in which he even stated that by 2025, he's hoping that they will accumulate a grand total of 130 million subscribers, which is a lot more than what they have right now, with a total of 92 million subscribers. That is, if you go and count the combination of all the different streamers that they do have, like HBO Max and Discovery Plus and all that kind of stuff. So those are the things that they have announced, and that's like kind of the basis and the big plan that they do have in the future with their streaming platform. However, there's also other major announcements and other big plans that they are going to do with it, and that is actually going to be in regards to DC. And that's actually another big thing that they are going to do in terms of like a big update that they want to do in the future, not just with streaming, but they also want to do something big with DC. And a significant thing that they did announce is that they are going to copy the same plan that Kevin Feige and Bob Iger did with Marvel, and that now DC is going to put in a 10-year plan with what they are going to do with their movies. And with their feature films, by the way, they're not just going to go and have a 10-year plan of how they're going to map up their cinematic universe, but they're also going to go and map out what they are going to do with their standalone movies. Like, for example, around the same time with all these announcements have been made, they've also revealed that the sequel to Joker, which is Joker Folie à Deux, not only did they confirm that Lady Gaga is going to be co-starring it alongside Joaquin Phoenix, but at the same time, they have confirmed that it is going to be released in October of 2024. And on top of that, the other standalone DC movies, such as the Matt Reeves trilogy, I'm sure that's still going to be happening, and like those plans are still intact. But when it comes to their cinematic universe, the DCEU, as they call it, they're going to go and make a massive reboot. Now, from what I have heard, apparently, some of the actors that are currently in the DCEU, some of them will still have their jobs. They will still be the same characters that they have played before. Like, there's a very solid chance that they're still going to be keeping Jason Momoa as Aquaman. They're still going to keep Zachary Levi as Shazam. I heard that Gal Gadot is still going to be Wonder Woman. Like, if they do make more movies of it, they'll still have Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam, and so on and so forth. Like, some of the actors will still remain, but it is going to be a full-on reboot of the entire cinematic universe, where they will go and hire new actors to play as some of the characters like Superman, Batman, The Flash, and whatever, in order to make a brand new cinematic universe. So the one downside to it is that the current cinematic universe of DC, it's pretty much confirmed to be dead. Like, if there's anything that can confirm that the Snyder universe is no more, this is pretty much it. And what they're going to do is that with the remaining DCEU movies, those are going to be the final films. So the last ones that they are going to be putting out will include Black Adam, Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, and finally, the infamous Flash movie. That's going to be the one that I believe is said to be the grand finale of all this. And then they're going to move on to a brand new DC cinematic universe where they're going to go and fully reboot it. So that's the big game plan of what they want to do with the DC movies. So just to quickly summarize, they pretty much have a plan of what they want to do as a full-on reboot to both the streaming platform that they do have, or like what would be their main streaming platform, and they got a full-on reboot plan for the DC cinematic universe, or the DCEU as some people want to call it. However, rumors are already speculating in regards to what is currently happening in terms of what they want to do with their plans. And it makes a lot of people very much worried. And some people are not liking this brand new direction with what Warner Brothers Discovery wants to do. And a big thing that a lot of people are very much nervous about is going to be the new content that they want to go and make. Considering that David Zaslav, before being the head of Warner Brothers Discovery, he was just the head of Discovery, and he pretty much had a background of nothing but reality shows, or at least the grand majority of his background consists of just reality shows that are under the Discovery umbrella. So I'm talking about stuff like Discovery, Animal Planet, HGTV, Food Network, History, I believe, TLC, and all those kinds of shows. And apparently, rumor has it that the new shows that they want to do for this new streaming platform is mainly going to be non-scripted shows. So they're thinking of having more reality shows instead of moving forward with any scripted shows. And for that, I'm just going to go and read you here what I'm talking about on my source here on Yahoo, in which they took it from The Wrap. And I believe it's in it's in this section. And by the way, just to go and quickly add, this also mentions about the worry that because of this merger and because of this massive game plan, like with what they want to do with the big updates and stuff like that, they are worried that there's going to be tons of layoffs, in which I'm going to go into that later. But anyways, going into my source here, it states... Speculations that layoffs were at hand began rippling through HBO offices late Tuesday afternoon, with one insider stating the paid TV channel's employees are all freaking out and that all I know is they're folding HBO Max into HBO and there will be redundancies. Everyone in Warner Brothers Discovery is nervous at the moment, and they're starting to look at alternative jobs in case they get the axe, a company insider said. Sounds like they're not doing HBO Max scripted shows anymore, with HBO taking over, so less scripted shows overall. So from there, what they're pretty much trying to say is that when it comes to the HBO Max content, like that's just going to be in charge. That's going to be left in charge by HBO. So at least we will no longer have any confusions about who's running HBO and who's running HBO Max, because they used to be completely separate entities, but now they're pretty much going to be combined together, where they're just going to be one big HBO entity. But with that said, this does leave a lot of worry of what the future of the streaming platform is going to be. And word has it that apparently this would mean that there's going to be a lot more reality type shows like you would get on Discovery or TLC or Food Network and all that kind of stuff, instead of actual instead of actual scripted programs that you would get right now on HBO Max. And on top of that, like when they would go and have their big presentation talking about their second quarter earnings and discussing about their big game plan of what they want to do with the streaming platform, a lot of people have noted that it's been very, very confusing, especially when they saw this image. Like, there's a pretty good chance that you have seen this image right over here, in which it pretty much discuss about the difference between HBO Max and Discovery and why WBD wants to go and fuse them together. In which they stated that when it comes to HBO Max, that one is male skew, scripted, lean in, appointment viewing, and home of fandoms. Whereas Discovery, on the other hand, they are female skew, unscripted, lean back, comfort viewing, and home of genre dumbs. And that's what they want to do with the combination of the two so that the boys and the girls can all have their same content under one massive umbrella that the WBD wants to do. And it's just leaving people absolutely confused as to what the fridge do they mean with how HBO Max is for the boys and that Discovery Plus is for the girls. Like, apparently, like, the offerings that WBD has right now, it's like a freaking Happy Meal. What toy would you like to have? Do you want the HBO Max toy or do you want the Discovery toy? Like, somehow that's how it works. But yeah, so that's pretty much the big game plan with what they want to do. And it really shows that with this entire merger of Warner Brothers Discovery, they want to do a massive reset. That obviously the current format of Warner Brothers Discovery, there's been a lot of problems with it. Like, let's be honest, even before the times that David Zaslav has been put in charge of Warner Brothers Discovery, Warner Brothers has been severely struggling, especially in recent years. And like, as you've probably seen, like during the pandemic, like Warner Brothers has been taking a serious, massive blow with a lot of creative decisions that really did not go well. And not to mention how a lot of Warner Brothers movies did turn out to be a massive flop. Yeah, there were probably a few that did turn out to be successful, or at the very least, some that like did as successful as it can under the circumstances that it had, but there was just so much of them that became massive flops. Even last year, like just thinking on top of my head, there have been plenty of Warner Brothers movies that turned out to be massive disasters. Like you got The Matrix Resurrection that turned out to be a big failure. You also had Space Jam: A New Legacy that turned out to be a big flop, despite the fact that like they spent decades trying to go and make that Space Jam sequel that they always wanted. And the list would just go on with all of these with all of these movies that they would have and turn out to be a big failure. And even nowadays, there have been some that are still a failure. Like even another example for last year is In the Heights. Despite the fact that the movie was like one of the most acclaimed films of 2021, it was still a box office failure. And even with this year, they had a major movie coming out with the third Fantastic Beast movie, but that turned out to be such a massive flop that it pretty much killed off any future plans of what they want to do with any Harry Potter projects, or at the very least with any future Harry Potter movies. So it's really not been going well, and it is pretty obvious that with the fact that it is under new management, with the fact that things have just not been going well with Warner Brothers in recent years, of course there are going to be some big changes. However, I will state that it is kind of surprising that they want to do this amount of major change when it comes to when it comes to their streaming platform, because from what I've heard, HBO Max has been doing relatively well for itself. I mean, sure, it's not doing the same massive numbers as either Netflix or Disney Plus or Amazon or any of those like big streamers, but when it comes to HBO Max, it is still very much solid, especially when it comes to the content, like the wide variety of content that they would go deliver. And it's been getting high praise from people, and some even said that HBO really was on track to be a serious competitor and might possibly win the streaming wars against even like Netflix and Disney. But I guess you could say like this was pretty much inevitable. Like some people would go and expect that when it comes to like the big merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery, of course, like it would be, of course we would have to go and expect that either HBO Max or Discovery Plus had to go, and they would have to go and find a way to combine the two together. Or either that, like, what would have most likely been the case that people thought it would be was that they would take down Discovery Plus and all the content there would just be sucked into HBO Max to make that an even bigger platform than it is right now. Like, we thought about that, but that does not seem to be the case. Instead, what's going on is that they decided to take both of those down and just try to create something new and something completely different. And I think that's the big thing, at least in this part right over here, that people really are upset about, is the fact that they are taking away something that people like and just create something completely different and completely new with it, instead of just adding into something that people do like already, that there's not much sacrifice that they could have done. It's like if, like, imagine if Disney would go and release Disney Plus like years before than it actually did by the end of 2019. Let's say like back in 2016, Disney released Disney Plus, and then they would go and do that big Fox buyout. And then from there, instead of taking all the Fox content and put it onto Disney Plus, Disney would just completely shut down Disney Plus and try to create something different out of it. And that is something that a lot, that would be something that people would very much be upset about, because they're taking away something that they've grown to be familiar with, and they would just end up getting something that they're like, it's totally different than it was before now, with the massive inclusion of all the other content from the other studio that they have just purchased. And that feels like it's the same thing that we are witnessing here today, is that they're taking away something that people have grown accustomed to, and they're going to go and replace it with something completely different. Because let's be honest, this brand new streaming platform, it's not going to be the same as how it will be when compared to how HBO Max is right now, especially when it comes to all those rumors about the possibility that this new WBD streaming platform is going to focus so much more on reality shows, that they're going to release, that apparently it'll be a lot more like Discovery Plus than it will be on HBO Max. And that is something I feel like is very much concerning, because, yeah, I mean, like, this is not to diss like Discovery Plus or the kind of content that Discovery has put out over the years. But the thing is that if they really are going to be focusing a lot more on the Discovery aspect than the Warner Brothers aspect, that's not going to be a great selling point, especially for those who have HBO Max right now and want to have that HBO Max content. Like, if you're getting HBO Max so that you can go and have access to all the different content and the big library that Warner Brothers has right now, and you want to see like what new things that they would have in store and add on to their collection, if they're just going to go and add in just like random reality shows that would be commonplace on like freaking TLC or HGTV or History or whatever, that's going to be a big disappointment, and it could possibly make people change their minds in terms of getting that platform, if it really is going to be worth it for the sake of having like those old, just to have like more reality shows coming their way. It could end up losing more customers, and instead they'll just go and like have more room for something else. If anything, with the way that like people are feeling about this right now, and for reasons that I will get to later, this feels like a great commercial right now for stuff like Paramount Plus or for Peacock or for whatever streaming platform that they currently do not have right now. And honestly, it does, like, I understand with what WBD wants to do with their new update, and of course they want to make things better and they want to look more presentable with their new form as Warner Brothers Discovery, but there have been a lot of things about it that feels worrying, that they would end up alienating more people than to actually have more people engaged into it. So yeah, I think that would pretty much best describe my thoughts on this matter with all the things that they have announced. I mean, like, one thing that I will say that is actually more positive about this is actually the future plan of what they want to do with the DCEU, or with the DC universe. I think that's definitely going to be a great idea. Honestly, like, I think it was it was long awaited that they need to have like a reboot of the entire DCEU, because right now in its current stance, it is a massive mess, and it has a pretty bad reputation, especially with all those Snyderverse fanboys. At least, like, one good thing, like I could already say right now, is that at least with the new 10-year plan that they have with DC, at least it's finally going to make the Snyderverse fanboys shut up, so that we know that whatever they want, it's pretty much dead. I mean, it's not like they're really worth listening, especially when a good chunk of them are bots anyways. But anyways, though, yeah, I think that is the one thing that I feel the most positive about in terms of all those announcements that they have made, is that I do agree with what they want to do with the future of the DC universe. And yeah, it definitely does need a reboot, and it needs to move on from like the edgy Zack Snyder vision bullcrap that they tried to do before but never really worked. So yeah, like that aspect I'm more positive, but the rest of it, I personally do feel a little bit concerned about how much change there is going to be on WBD's new streaming platform, especially when it comes to the new content that's going to be coming out. If the rumors are true and that they're just going to be focusing strictly on just having reality shows, or have significantly more reality shows, more so than the kind of scripted content that they would go and put out. All right, so I think that is going to be my thoughts on the big plans that WBD has. And now I want to go and pass this on to you all. How do you all feel in regards to all the announcements that they're going to do with the future of WBD streaming? Are you guys excited about it? Are you guys a little concerned? Let me know your thoughts about all this. Okay, so let's see what comments do we have. I personally am really mixed about this. While I am glad that the DC Cinematic Universe at least seems to have a plan now, and I'm not against a version of the streaming service that's less expensive, even if it were to include ads, it kind of feels like they're mashing the two services together without that much thought into it, to say nothing of how insulting that the two genders graphic, as if many female viewers weren't attracted to such HBO Max programming such as the Studio Ghibli collection. Yeah, that is definitely true. It just feels weird and like unnecessarily sexist. I think that's the best way to go and describe this entire graph right over here, is the fact that they the fact that they even have to separate the two in the first place. Like, I mean, like, I know, yeah, like there are some things on HBO Max that I definitely do enjoy, but I also enjoy some of like the Discovery Plus stuff that they would put out, or the Discovery stuff that they do include in general. I'll say right now, like, I am guilty of watching some reality shows that are delivered by Discovery, you know, stuff like of course Mythbusters, or Forged in Fire, or even Pawn Stars, admittedly, or even like some of the cooking competition shows like MasterChef. But the point that I want to make is that, like, it's not just girls who watch Discovery type reality show programs. I mean, like, yeah, like maybe you're just thinking too much of like the target demographic you want to get for like the TLC programs. But yeah, that one I have to admit is just absolutely weird. Let's see what else we have here. I do believe we have a comment from Paleo, and let's see, what does he say? If they get rid of the HBO Max name, or just HBO in general, it would be a huge mistake. One of the reasons HBO Max became successful as it was because people knew that HBO name and associated it with quality, which HBO Max does have a lot of compared to other streaming services with all the original and legacy content it has. And yeah, Paleo does bring up a very good point here, is that a big part of why HBO Max is doing well is because of the HBO brand. Like when you think about HBO, you think of top quality program. Like you think of stuff like The Sopranos or Game of Thrones or Boardwalk Empire. I think is Boardwalk Empire an HBO show? You could correct me if I'm wrong on that. But also like even some of the recent stuff like Barry, for example. And from there, with HBO Max, with the HBO Max name, that means like you would, like, for people, that pretty much registers that you would get a maximum amount of high quality content that you would go and find on HBO. And yeah, I see some people are saying yes, okay, so it is part of, okay, so Boardwalk Empire is HBO. But yeah, it is a good point. Like if they do get rid of that name, then not many people, like, it's going to really screw them over, because like people are pretty much accustomed to the fact that Warner Brothers is the streaming platform of Warner Brothers is HBO Max. They associate Warner Brothers with HBO. If Warner Brothers goes out of their way to go and completely change that, that will end up becoming pretty problematic. And I think like they'll end up losing subscribers more so than they would gain. All right, let's see what we got here. I only really used HBO Max for Peacemaker and my first viewing of the Tom and Jerry movie, but I'm cautious about the merger. The DC plans, however, sounds pretty cool, aside from one glaring issue, and the Joker sequel sounds really fun, and I look forward to Lady Gaga as Harley. But I gotta ask, with all the new DC films announced, will we be getting a spin-off to The Suicide Squad starring King Shark? The nom-nom mythos must flourish. And what is this crap of genre dumb? I don't know, honestly. I don't know what the fridge a genre dumb is, but honestly, when it comes to spin-offs, I don't know if I could say anything about that just yet, because wait till the next story we will talk about, and that's when things really do get pretty messy. Let's see what else we got here. The more I look into it, the more I realize that Warner Brothers was really struggling for the past few years, more so than Sony and Paramount, and they even changed the logo to the WBD logo, where I was at the studio tour over there. Starting with HBO Max, it makes me worry so much about how things are going that it makes me not confident with how they focus more on reality shows than scripted shows. I hope they don't tarnish so much of them in the future. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to promise right now that they're not going to get rid of scripted shows, but I'll explain later on the reasons why they are doing that, and trust me, it's not genuine. Let's see. Well, this is something we don't hear every day. Oh, wait a minute. This is something we commonly hear, especially this year, with mergers like Disney and Fox, Viacom and CBS, Crunchyroll and Funimation, Activision Blizzard, King, and Microsoft, and even last week with Netflix and Animal Logic. Oh, and here, if you're going to add those onto the list, don't forget Amazon and MGM. So the HBO Max Discovery Plus merger was pretty much inevitable. Also, the DCEU is dead has become a reality, so everyone make way for the Sonic Cinematic Universe / Sonic Universe, or the SCU. God, I love the Sonic movie duology. Hey, hold on a sec. We need to check the third one, which I believe is coming out in 2024. So hold on. We need to make that trilogy happen first, and then we can really get into the cinematic universe. Let's see what other comments do we have over here. Well, a lot of them are the same. Okay, I'll read one more and then we'll jump into the next story. I'm feeling really concerned about how HBO Max and Discovery Plus will turn out to be. The fact that they show the male and female target audience is really confusing, especially the genre dumb part. Like, what the hell? But one good thing is that there will be no more Snyderverse movies, so the fanboys will just shut up and disappear. But still, the future of those HBO Max shows, the future of those HBO Max is very concerning, and I'm not ready for it. Oh yeah, I don't think anybody is ready, but strap right in, folks, because we're going to go into our next story, and this is when things really become chaotic. All right, folks, this is it. No, don't worry. It is not the grand finale, but this is to sound the alarms that things are really gonna get crazy. Like Patrick said at the beginning of this episode, or at the beginning of the podcast in general. Now, I've pretty much talked about what their big game plan is. The fact that they want to do a full-on reboot of both their streaming platform and of the DC universe. But when it comes to rebooting something, that also means that they gotta go and get rid of some old stuff. And holy crap, did they get rid of a lot. Because I'm just gonna say this. What Warner Brothers Discovery has done, it has really put cancel culture to a brand new meaning. So with that said, let's go and discuss about the canceled Warner Brothers projects. And the first one to go and talk about, and I guess you could say the first thing that has happened in terms of what caused the news happening again and again and again, and what caused people to be so upset about Warner Brothers Discovery and with David Zaslav, is the fact that he has canceled two very significant HBO Max projects. The first one being Batgirl, and the other being Scoob Holiday Haunt. And the big reason why those two are very significant as to why people are so mad of their cancellation is because they were actually very, very close to being finished. In the case of Batgirl, they were, like, a lot of people said that they were about like 90% complete. It was actually months ago that they finished filming the whole movie, and now all they have to do, or at least the principal photography of it, and now all they have to do is just do some editing, and then it would be ready to go on HBO Max. And this was actually a pretty anticipated Batgirl movie, especially with the fact that it has some pretty prominent names already attached to it. Like there was Leslie Grace, who made her big debut in The Heights last year, where she was going to play Barbara Gordon and Batgirl, and that was a major hook to it. The fact that we were going to have a Hispanic Batgirl movie, but on top of that, we also had J.K. Simmons reprising his role as Commissioner Gordon. We also had Michael Keaton playing as Batman, and even Brendan Fraser was going to be in the movie playing the villain of the feature called Firefly. And as for Scoob Holiday Haunt, that was supposed to be like a mid-cool movie based on the 2020 feature Scoob. And with that one, just a few days before it was announced that the movie was canceled, they there was like a little Q&A thing, or there was like a live stream thing going on with some of the people who worked on the feature, and they mentioned that they finished the animation. Like the entire animation process was done, and they were ready to jump onto post-production, where they would go and do all the sound effects, do the finishing touches on the animation, and even, just do like anything that like clear up, polishing the animation, and also do the score as well. All of which now is pretty much over. And no, there is no additional chance anymore for Warner Brothers Discovery to go and maybe release this in the future somewhat. What they have done instead is that in order to go and recoup costs, because they were pretty pricey movies, like with Batgirl, that apparently had a budget of a total of $90 million, and Scoob Holiday Haunt cost a total of $40 million. What WBD decided to do is just do a tax write-off, that they would just write it off on their taxes, and that's the only way they would go and get their money back on those two particular projects, despite the fact that they just needed like maybe a month or two to just work on production, and they would just be good to go. But that was not the only thing that they have done in terms of cancellations. There's much more to it, because the day after that those cancellations were announced, apparently WBD also decided to go and quietly take away some HBO Max exclusive content. Like any HBO Max exclusive movies, they decided to just go and fully get rid of them in the platform. And in this case, these actually include Moonshot, Superintelligence, The Witches, An American Pickle, Lockdown, and Charm City. Now, they were originally supposed to be like big headline movies that you could only find on HBO Max, but now they have ultimately decided to just go and completely take them away from the platform, where there's not really any other place that you could go and find them, unless they did have a legitimate DVD or home media release or anything like that. They decided to just make them disappear and just not worth keeping onto HBO Max. But that's not all. Apparently, on top of that, on top of getting rid of like HBO Max original content that's already there, they have apparently it's been said that they have also removed a whole bunch of other content that is supposed to be HBO Max exclusive. Like whatever scripted content that was supposed to be made exclusively for HBO Max, apparently a whole lot of them have been canceled. And much like with the backlash of the cancellation of Batgirl, a lot of them coincidentally, a lot of them had women of color prominently featured in their respective projects. So that's why you probably have seen a lot of people cry foul on Warner Brothers Discovery and accuse them of being racist, or that when it comes to David Zaslav, that he's someone who hates diversity and all that kind of stuff. But hold on a sec, there is more, because it's not just those content as well, but this is also pretty bad news for animation. Yes, not even animation is safe. And unfortunately, much like with what people say about David Zaslav and his point of view of diversity, animation does not seem like a major top priority for HBO Max or the future of WBD's streaming platform. And there's been some speculation that apparently some of those HBO Max exclusive animated content are no longer going to be made, especially after what we have seen with Scoob, since that one was almost finished and yet they still decided to just completely take that down. It feels like nothing is safe, which is why a lot of people feel absolutely worried about many highly acclaimed shows that you can only find on HBO Max right now. Like, this could legitimately mean the cancellation of stuff like Jellystone, of content like Harley Quinn, or some of the new Young Justice as well. There's no confirmation to that as of yet, but there is a strong possibility. And on top of that, on top of the big cancellation of Batgirl and Scoob, there was also another project that was HBO Max exclusive that did end up getting canceled despite the fact that it was finished entirely. And that actually is Little Ellen, where there was already 2 seasons that you can go and find on HBO Max, and they had a 3rd season ready. Like, that one was fully complete, it was entirely finished, and it was ready to be put on HBO Max. And it was supposed to come out in June, but then the company decided to go and delay it, but now they have revealed that they just canceled it and just refused to put up season 3 altogether. Now, I'll just say right now that, of course, a lot of people were very much upset of the fact that Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt got canceled, but when it comes to Little Ellen, a lot of people seem to be, they're okay with it. I think that's the only one that a lot of people were pretty much fine. Like, instead of, this is nothing against the people who did work on the show. I know that a lot of them have put in a lot of effort into the series and stuff like that, but it really is just a case that many people just look up to Ellen DeGeneres and just say, and that's pretty much it. So, honestly, it's nothing against the people who worked on it. It's just screw Ellen DeGeneres, and let's be honest, that should have been canceled a long time ago. So, honestly, that's the only one where it feels like WBD is doing us a favor than anything like that. Okay, but anyways, in a serious talk, though, Like, this is the big reason why we are seeing so much hate and so much backlash coming from David Zaslav, and coming from, or not coming from, but given to David Zaslav and given to Warner Brothers Discovery. And that is unfortunately the big part of the fact that so much hard work is pretty much thrown in the garbage, and not just with Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt, but it's also with all the other major projects that was supposed to be on HBO Max, but now it looks like they're no longer going to be made. And we have actually seen this before. Like, this was actually a situation that was like slowly but surely growing. Like, you probably remember a few weeks ago when the entire animation community was just massively upset of the fact that Close Enough, a highly praised animated series by J.G. Quintel that was doing pretty well on HBO Max, just ended up being canceled. And as it turns out, it was actually just one of the first things to go that was all part of this massive plan that HBO Max wanted to do. Now, going specifically into the big projects that have been canceled, specifically with Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt. Let me just go and begin with Scoob. And I'll say right now, I've already put out my review. I've already put out my thoughts on the 2020 Scoob movie, and I'll just say that I am not a fan. It's not necessarily a terrible movie, and the animation is nice, and it was fun to look at all the little Easter eggs that have been like scattered across the entire movie to find all the different Hanna-Barbera references. But the rest is it just felt very corporately manufactured. It just felt like a movie that did not have a soul, and it just really felt like it was only made to capitalize on the Hanna-Barbera properties, and especially on the success of Scooby-Doo, and that's pretty much it. So honestly, I've never really heard about Scoob Holiday Haunt before. Like, that completely missed my radar, and I never knew that was even going to be a thing that would exist, that there would be this direct to HBO Max sequel, or more like a midquel of that movie, where apparently I have heard that with that feature film, it was supposed to be like it was supposed to be like one of the mystery gang's first mysteries, like when they were kids, and it had a pretty prominent cast as well. Like there have been some recognizable actors in there as well, like Ming-Na Wen and Mark Hamill. But apparently they decided to just go and cancel it altogether. And I will say that honestly does suck, like very, very much, especially like when they hit a massive milestone, like literally just a few days before the cancellation. Like, they just finished off that animation, they went through that massive hurdle, only to go and have their entire project just completely collapse onto them. So, like, and that is one thing that I definitely do feel sympathy for the animators and for the people who have worked on that movie. Like, that really does suck, and it feels extremely unnecessary just to have their project that they've been working for years on to be completely scrapped. But there is one thing that I will give credit to the filmmakers, is that apparently, like, I love the enthusiasm that they do have, where they say like, oh, you know what? Our movie is canceled. Screw it. That's not going to stop us from finishing the movie. Where it actually happened just, I think like a day or two ago, they actually revealed that even though they know that Scoob Holiday Haunt was canceled, they decided to really go out of their way and still have the score be created. Like, they already paid the musicians, they already paid for the soundstage, so they might as well go and do something about it. They might as well go and legitimately create the score and actually do their jobs, you know? Like you already paid for them, so might as well make the most out of it. So I love that enthusiasm. I love like that screw it energy. Let's just go and actually make the movie, even though we don't have a purpose. So like, I gotta admit, like, I would personally not be interested in this movie, but I do admire the dedication that they have to finish it, despite the fact that there's no real purpose in actually finishing it. So, good on the Scoob Holiday Haunt team to just keep on going, despite the fact that they pretty much had nowhere to go at that point. And then there is the Batgirl aspect. And that is one in which, like, it was very controversial, and debatably the most controversial aspect about this entire controversy. Like, if not the biggest reason why people are so upset at David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Discovery, especially the fact that it was very close to finishing, and this really was a major blow to Leslie Grace, especially with the fact that she just started her movie career. She made her big opening debut with In the Heights and received massive praise for her performance. And this felt like a really natural and great next step where she would be like a prominent and popular heroine playing as Batgirl. But then suddenly that opportunity was just taken away. And yes, it is a major loss for diversity, considering that, like, it's not every day that you get to hear a Hispanic person play a prominent superhero. That, like, it's pretty much a big loss where, like, we don't have, we just lost technically a prominent Hispanic hero, or like a Hispanic hero based on someone popular in the DC universe. And you can't, like, other than Marvel, you can't really get bigger than the DC universe to that. And that's why there's been a lot of accusations against David Zaslav that he is someone who hates diversity, especially with all the other cancellations, not just with her, but also the other projects that had women of color starring in them. And not to mention that amongst David Zaslav's board, he admitted that he did not really care much about diversity and just filled everyone, like, amongst his leadership to be just a bunch of old white men in suits. And that's pretty much it. So a lot of people have pretty much accused him of racism when it comes to that move. And I will get into this a little later, but I don't necessarily agree if it is specifically for that reason specifically. But yeah, it really is a dick move that he would give out this massive loss for diversity. And it is something that really made him pay. And again, I'll explain that a little bit later. But also, one of the big things why people are very much upset over the cancellation of Batgirl, the reason is because, okay, we're pretty much at the point where, like, if we are going to cancel projects, if we are going to throw away the works of hundreds of people, like, why Batgirl and not The Flash? Like, why are you so desperate to keep The Flash, despite the fact that it stars one of the most problematic actors today? And with Batgirl, it pretty much did nothing wrong. Like, wouldn't you think it would be such a top priority for Warner Brothers Discovery to completely disassociate themselves with The Flash? And I mean, I know there have been some people who argue that apparently during test screenings, Batgirl did not necessarily do all that well. And honestly, that is a story that I personally do not believe, because there have been plenty of other stories out there. There have been plenty of other movies out there that Warner Brothers had very low ratings for, and that did not stop them to go and put them up on the big screen. In fact, in some of those reports, actually, I did hear that apparently Batgirl only did on average like in the low 60s in terms of how audiences like them, which is not relatively a good score. But then again, that's the same score that was said to have been given to movies like It and even the first Shazam movie. And that did not stop the WBD to go and actually release those movies anyways, despite those low scores. So it certainly isn't because of that. And even though a lot of people said that apparently with what's happening with the Flash movie, apparently that one is getting a higher score than usual, and people in test screenings are actually enjoying that. But still, however, one thing that is honestly worrying is just the fact that they're really going out of their way to just ignore the scenarios with Ezra Miller, that, like, day by day, whenever you actually do hear news about Ezra Miller, like, he's gotten himself into more and more trouble to the point where he is a legitimate criminal. And again, one of the most problematic actors currently in Hollywood today. Like, I know that Warner Brothers has made their promise that after The Flash, they would no longer work with Ezra Miller, but still, though, the fact that you're still enabling this movie in particular with the role that is debatably the one that is the most associated with Ezra Miller, it just feels like you're keeping his, you're still being associated with his troubles. And I mean, in that regard, what is the biggest crime that Batgirl has done? Is it because it's not like a major movie? It's not in the same scale as some of the other big movies you have coming soon, like Black Adam and Aquaman 2 or whatever? That is honestly something that I feel that's just absolutely ridiculous, and it feels like it really does question you really do question the morality of Warner Brothers Discovery and David Zaslav with what they're doing. So yes, I definitely do agree that it is absolutely it is one of their biggest bullcrap moves, just canceling Batgirl when there are plenty of other things that they could easily get rid of that would solve much more problems. And on top of that, going into the animation aspect, like, I know that is actually something that a lot of people are very much worried about. And that is something that I have seen amongst the animation community that they are very much scared of the most. Considering that considering that Warner Brothers Discovery is in such a canceling spree, getting rid of things left and right, and especially when the kids in animation section is definitely not safe, people are pretty much worried about the future of Warner Brothers' animation division. Like, not just the ones that are on HBO Max, but what's going to happen with Cartoon Network, what's going to happen with Adult Swim, what's happening with Warner Brothers Animation, what's happening with Warner Animation Group, what's happening with all those guys. Like, are they safe? Is the future a lot more bleak? Is Warner Brothers considering to just get rid of their whole animation division? And the answer to that is no, because this whole scenario is only based on HBO Max. It is only based on their streaming service alone. It's just on that and nothing more. Yes, there are some projects that are very concerning that they might end up getting canceled, including Jellystone and Harley Quinn, but whatever content is made for Adult Swim or for Cartoon Network or for Warner Animation Group or for Warner Brothers Animation, those are completely fine. For now, they're just focusing on those. And so I just want to have that clarification. And actually, there is one thing that just popped in my head. The big thing in regards to going back into the Batgirl scenario, why is it that they want to go and cancel that and not something like The Flash? And this is actually a big part of their plan with not just DC, but this is also in regards to their big plan with how they want to go and distribute movies in general. Because the thing is, this is that, like, the cancellation of stuff like Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt, it doesn't really have to do with anything political or personal or anything like that. It is actually because of what happened in 2021. The controversial moves that Warner Brothers has done, in which it ended up screwing them over pretty badly. Now, back in 2021, they were really hoping that their big strategy with what they wanted to do with their movies, that it would end up increasing the amount of subscribers that they would go and get. And you know the strategy that I'm talking about. The fact that throughout the entirety of 2021, that they would go and release their big name movies both on the big screen and on HBO Max at the same time on the same day, which really caused a lot of controversy, not just with the public, but also with filmmakers especially, that they honestly felt betrayed of the fact that they would also give people the choice to just watch the movies by staying at home instead of experiencing them on the big screen. That was something that they were very much not cool with, and there was some very serious damage control that Warner Brothers had to do throughout that year. Woo. Some gas was just coming out, so just needed to get that out. But anyways, going back to what I was talking about. So yeah, there was that damage control that they had to do. And there were a few Warner Brothers movies that did end up becoming pretty successful for the circumstances that they were in, including Godzilla vs. Kong. But again, most of them did turn out to be major box office bombs. They were just making things worse and worse for Warner Brothers, where they ended up losing a lot of money. And even if they abandoned that plan, they're still losing money to this day, where movies like The Secrets of Dumbledore are still losing a lot of money for Warner Brothers. So already that relationship is kind of broken right now, and that strategy really did not work. So as a way to go and fix this, WBD wants to truly go and separate what is like content they want to do on the big screen and what is content they want to put out on HBO Max. And for them, they just feel like it doesn't make sense putting content that would be big to like big content that should be on the big screen, but instead just be put onto HBO Max. Like the stuff that like Netflix, for example, like what they're doing with movies like Gray Man, for them, it just makes absolutely no sense. So they want to have a lot more of a commitment to the big screen. And another one, by the way, and this probably explains a lot more about the cancellation of Batgirl, is actually Zack Snyder's Justice League, the world famous Snyder cut of the Justice League movie. Now, you may probably remember that they actually spent $70 million on those additional reshoots and for Zack Snyder to create the Justice League that he wanted to do. Now, say what you will about that version of Justice League. There are some people that really did like it. Some people thought, like, meh, it was unnecessary. But it did not work out well for Warner Brothers. It, like, honestly, it only financially made things worse in terms of Justice League, because it didn't do much of a job in terms of increasing the subscriber numbers, and they certainly did not get their $70 million back just by doing that movie. So that turned out to be a massive disaster. In fact, I would even say that the failure of Zack Snyder's Justice League is probably the main reason as to why Batgirl got canceled, because WBD just does not want to go and repeat those mistakes. And that's why they're pretty much moving on, not just from the entirety of the Snyderverse, but they're doing this entire reboot. And again, I want to go and clarify that when it comes to all this, there's nothing personal. There's nothing political about like the decisions that they have done. And I know a lot of people are very upset with what WBD is doing and that people are angry and that they want to make them pay. But I just need to say this, folks. They kind of already are. And there is one reason to perfectly explain everything that they are doing this. Why are they doing a massive reboot to the DC cinematic universe? Why are they doing a massive reboot to their streaming platform? Why are they canceling all these shows? Why are they doing that why are they focusing less on scripted programs and more on non-scripted programs? Why are they doing all this? Well, the big reason is actually because they're in debt. And let me tell you, they're in critical debt. Like, I can already say, and by the way, before I get into that, like, I'll just say right now that things have pretty much gotten bad to worse. Because with the confusing and pretty bad presentation that WBD has done, the cancellation of Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt, pretty much the big switch from going from scripted programs to non-scripted programs, the big cancel culture within the platform, and not to mention the complete neglect for diversity, they ended up having their stocks go down. Like, initially it went down by like around 10%, but now it actually went down by more than 15%. It wasn't a plunge that is as bad as Netflix earlier in the year, but it was still pretty bad. to the point where like now WBD is pretty much in full-on PR mode where they're trying to say that a lot of the things that they have announced that they're not actually going to go and do that they really are backpedaling in a lot of things that they have said. And by the way, going back to what I was talking about, yes, Warner Brothers or WBD is in debt. How much? Well, probably just a little sum of $53 billion. Yes, you heard me right, folks. A gross debt that is currently $53 billion. And this was actually something that was accumulated over the years. Like, this wasn't just something that was immediately brought up by David Zaslav. This was actually something that, for a very long time, for several years, AT&T had been in critical debt with their Warner Media division, and it's just been like piling up higher and higher and higher with every box office failure that they have put out, with every bad decision that they have done, that pretty much this, like for AT&T, trying to sell it and give it to someone else was the only best option that they could do. And that's why David Zaslav came in and decided to agree to go and invest $43 billion onto Warner Media so that they can go and blend those two companies together with his Discovery and with Warner Media in order to turn into Warner Brothers Discovery. And that's the big reason. And you know, the worst thing is that with everything that they have done so far, with all the announcements that they have made, with all the cancellations that they have done, like at best, if things actually go well, that's only going to end up covering like maybe just $3 billion. Like, that would be one way to just erase $3 billion, and yet they still have billions of dollars left to go and try to take care of. And that's all that they have been doing so far. Like, the thing is, Warner Brothers is so badly in the negative that pretty much that's all they've been doing is damage control and keep on trying to find the best ways that they could go and find like some really good profit, and like really big ones at that as well, to the point where they can't really afford to do something so extravagant that, unless like it is unnecessary, like having a streaming platform right now, they can't afford to go and make some like extra stuff on top of that in order to accumulate, in order to have the hopes to go and make more revenue, like currently like what Disney is doing, or like what other companies like Paramount is doing. Like right now, they're just in so much in the red. And I could tell you right now that all these announcements that they have done, all the cancellations that they did, the backlash that they have received because of their lack of diversity, because of the cancellations of stuff like Batgirl, it's just making things worse right now. And that's all they're doing. All the decisions that they have done, really, it really is the case of nothing personal, it's just business. And really, that like they don't, like, a lot of people right now are pretty much upset with what they're doing, but yeah, like, it's not helping out. And honestly, with how people, with how people are upset with HBO Max, with all the announcements that they have done, and especially with all the uncertainty with the future of their streaming platform. And this is not to mention, by the way, of the possibility that people may end up getting fired, or they'll end up losing their jobs. In fact, rumors have been spreading around that there is a possibility that around 70% of people working on HBO Max content are going to be losing their jobs because of like the big merger and the big changes that they want to do with the platform. Like, all this is just not looking good, and it's going to be hard to imagine how they can go and really get themselves out of the hole. Now, is this new streaming platform going to be the best idea that they have? I don't know, honestly, but yeah, that's the thing. It's just that as angry as you can get, like, the thing is, Warner Brothers has been swimming in punishment and consequences for their ineptitude for so long. They've pretty much been they've pretty much been used to it by now. And the thing is that it's just, I don't know, man. It just does. It feels like we're pretty much at the point where I don't know what else that I could go and say about this. It's just like, yeah, as angry as I am, I know that Warner Brothers Discovery and David Zaslav are really facing consequences for it because of how much dangerous debt that they are in right now. Like literally billions of dollars in just debt that feels like they're not going to be able to pay for it for several years to come. In fact, it's highly doubtful in our own lifetime that we'll ever see Warner Brothers Discovery even pay that massive amount of debt. It really is ridiculous. So, yeah, I think honestly that should go and cover my entire thoughts on the entire thing. It's been absolutely ridiculous, and honestly it makes me feel a little bit worried about it makes me worried about the streaming future of Warner Brothers. I think honestly all their other divisions, like the stuff they'll put out on the big screen, the stuff that they put out on television, I think those are going to be fine. But when it comes to the streaming wars, it's honestly pretty sad to see, like, yeah, I think they've lost their mantra. Like the chances of them being like the streaming war champion, like they're pretty much long gone. Okay, so with that said though, it's now time that I go and pass on the mic to the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about not just all the cancellations, but all the news that I have been reporting about the Warner Brothers Discovery controversy? Like, if there's anything that I have missed, feel free to go and share it all. But mainly, I want to know your thoughts about all this. Like, trust me, like, you understand why this, why I had to do so much research, why it's just been so intense. Okay, let's see what we got this. We got Paleo here saying, I'm just glad that it seems like the Fiona and Cake series is safe. Just today, I just saw someone on Twitter that was hired for a character designer. It seems like most of the Cartoon Network stuff is safe at least. Also, I saw that there's going to be a Blu-ray release of the new Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie as well. I am concerned about the Gumball movie though. Yeah, that is something that, it's just right now, that seems to be the big thing that people are very much concerned about. We just don't know in terms of what's going to be happening regarding the stuff that is supposed to be HBO Max exclusive. Are they actually still going to happen? What's the plans on that? Are they end up going to be canceled? I don't know. It's just really a matter that we do have to wait and see, but I understand your concerns, and I'm just going to say right now, as bad as it sounds, don't be surprised if you hear that it's no longer happening. I mean, they still could, but then again, it's just, there is that possibility with the way that WBD is cutting things down for the purpose of, for pretty much for the sake of, paying off their debt. Let's see now. The worst thing about all this mess is that the talent and the filmmakers found out the cancellation on the same day as everyone else, with one of the directors of Batgirl found this out during his wedding. To cancel two movies that was about to be finishing post-production, Scoob Holiday Haunt is even scoring their music after the cancellation because of money is disrespectful to the filmmakers and the people who work hard for years to make both the films happen in order to get spit in their face. Yeah, and honestly, the funny thing is that even though technically their whole strategy is to try to go and make amends with filmmakers, to try, like, a big part of it is that they could go and make peace with filmmakers after the controversy of their big 2021 plan. They want to go and promise filmmakers that, yes, whatever project that they are making, they're going to go and release that on the big screen. But after seeing the treatment that they have given to the people working on Batgirl and on Scoob Holiday Haunt, I think, like, it's still pretty bad. And right now, filmmakers are pretty worried about Warner Brothers Discovery that at any moment, even if they were very close to finishing, that they'll just end up pulling the plug on it and that their project is not going to be made and that all those years they've done working on that particular feature has been completely wasted. Like, that honestly freaking sucks. Let's see now. What else do we have here? What other comments? I know mergers always lead to terrible decisions. Like, at this point, it just comes with the territory. But what in the actual ass are they doing? I mean, if you're gonna nearly complete, if you're gonna have nearly completed two multi-million-dollar movies that were near completion, then why throw them out? That's not saving money. That's just wasting it. I still want to hold on to the hope that Holiday Haunt will still be revived, because by the power of squiggly arms, Simon Cowell must be right again. No, but I do get what you mean. And yeah, like, honestly, like, the best case scenario at this point was if, like, the best case scenario would only be if someone would just come in and do, like, the Popeye animatic from a few weeks ago, that they'll just take the completed movie, or take, like, the most that they have, and they'll just sneak their way into just uploading it on YouTube like it's nobody's business. At least just have the quick opportunity and just hope that there's someone on the internet will download it and just share it amongst their friends. Like, that's honestly the best case that they can do. Let's see, what else do we have here? Any Warner Brothers movies and shows, according to reports, are not safe, and Batgirl is one of them. I feel bad for the people who worked on the shows like Close Enough and movies for WB, including people who worked on Batgirl, as it is not easy to make feature films or a TV series. Even if they're not great, regardless of the perception of critics and audiences, they deserve better than this. Also, if they release The Flash but not Batgirl, then I won't see it next year due to still having Ezra Miller on that film. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I understand, even though I completely disagree with it, I do understand the reasonings of, like, canceling those big projects like Batgirl, because it's not a guarantee that they'll end up winning their money, because it'll be like Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they'll just waste their money because it's not bringing in as much subscribers as they were hoping for. But still, though, the fact that there's still, like, the fact that despite all the different controversies, they're freaking still keeping Ezra Miller on board. They're still having him, like, on their big project, and yet, like, even with all the controversies, like, honestly, it makes me wonder, like, what is it going to take for Warner Brothers Discovery to completely disassociate themselves from Ezra Miller to the point where they have to cancel the entirety of the Flash movie? Like, seriously, what is it that it's going to take? Because right now, like, with the massive backlash that it's having, it's hard to honestly imagine if it's even going to turn a profit. Even if the movie is, even if the film itself turns out to be amazing, like, there's going to be tons of people that will protest, and they will completely abandon the Flash because they don't want to associate themselves with Ezra Miller. They don't want to give their money to a project in which Ezra Miller is prominent on. And it's pretty much like what happened this year with The Secrets of Dumbledore, where a big reason why it was a failure is because many people are protesting against J.K. Rowling and don't want to give their money to try to fuel the hatred that she would spread on the internet. So it's honestly a case that's just absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. I appreciate that David Zaslav is going to release more movies in theaters. It's probably the only thing that isn't making me fully against him being the CEO of WBD. However, even if I'm glad that Zaslav is not going to give up on theaters, it shouldn't be at the cost of canceling streaming projects that are 95 to 99% close to completion. I completely understand that Warner Brothers is in $1 billion in debt and that they need money, but I just think that they should have approached the cancellations better. There probably could have been other ways, but the fact that they are so focused on money, it just makes it so problematic, and it makes the relationship with them extremely complicated to the point where, like, are people really going to trust making movies at Warner Brothers, even if it means the risk of meeting the same fate as Batgirl? You never know. Let's see. I was frustrated with this when I found out Joe Pera Talks with You was canceled. As more and more shows became canceled, it became incredibly obvious that the current CEO is an asshole who only cares more about the money than creativity. Coming from someone who wanted to pitch an adult animated pilot to HBO or Adult Swim at some point, I'm thinking of taking it elsewhere if I ever get any credibility to my name. Plus, there are other ways to make money, use practical effects, hire smaller crews, etc. Yeah, and you gotta keep in mind with the whole thing about David Zaslav is that, like, it's not really about his politics or it's about any of his personal vendettas or stuff like that. In fact, I'm gonna say right now, David Zaslav is not necessarily that well known as a Republican. He doesn't really have a prominent history of like making big donations to the Republican Party or be extremely vocal to support Donald Trump or anything like that. It's actually more the case that he actually has a background of reality shows. Like I said before, the grand majority, if not all of his background, is just entirely based on reality shows, making shows for like TLC or Discovery or Food Network or Animal Planet or stuff like that. And that's why when it comes to his qualifications, it's very much questionable with what he is doing right now. Yes, there is a big money problem with Warner Brothers Discovery, but he's so he's pretty much so blinded by that issue that it really makes it clear that he's just one of those greedy CEOs that cares more about money more so than creativity. Yeah, he'll try to save face by trying to look like he cares about the quality of the content that they're creating and that, you know, he has more faith on the Flash more so than he does on Batgirl, but we all know that money is like the main reason and possibly the only reason to many of his decisions. So, like, honestly, it just felt like a bad decision from the start just to make David Zaslav the CEO in the first place. Let's see what else we have here. What other comments? Did I read this one? Oh yeah, I did. Just want to see what else is there. Yes, I did read you. I think I'll end up just reading one more comment before we jump into the next story. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll go with you. Okay, so I'll be honest, everyone in the cast and crew of all these canceled projects deserve better. I don't think this merger is going to help Warner Brothers in the long run. There's random stuff being taken off the streaming service. Stuff is getting canceled. The stuff that's nearly finished are gone. Yet the one constant WB work continuing to exist is The Flash. Releasing it now so we can get Ezra Miller out of hiding. They're a diva and maybe they'll come out of the woodworks. Yeah, exactly. I think like I understand that with the current plan that they do have with the DC movies, like they want to release them in a specific order. But when it comes to The Flash, especially nowadays with how people feel about Ezra Miller in particular, like I said before, people are not going to go and watch it. There will be people who will mostly be protesting against supporting a very problematic guy who can pretty much now be considered a criminal like Ezra Miller. It's an insane situation, but oh boy, yeah, as you could tell, we're nearly just an hour and a half, and all we've been talking about is just this big story in particular. But as you could tell, it really is such a massive mess. Like, all this for the purpose of trying to pay $1 billion in debt, and even at that, it would only be like the best case scenario to just pay a few $1 billion, and they would still have a very long way to go. But still, though, it's just absolutely nuts. Like hopefully the best case scenario could occur and that this new streaming platform can actually work out well and that many of the dark rumors are actually not true about it. But still, though, it's just not pleasant to see like this massive downfall of Warner Brothers Discovery. Although I will say, though, that it is kind of funny to see people are becoming a lot more forgiving to Bob Chapek now that they have a brand new CEO to completely despise with David Zaslav. Oh boy, folks. That was one heck of a story over there, but I'm glad that we went through all this. And now it's time that we're going to go and jump onto our next story, and we're going to go and immediately brighten things up a bit. Now, we're going to go and try to lighten up the mood. Let's talk about something that's a lot more positive and something that we are going to be a lot more excited about, or at least most of us will be excited about. Because so far, the first batch of this series so far has been very beloved. People have been enjoying it so much with it. But now it seems like we're getting our next batch happening, and we even got our first major look of it. So, with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for part 2 of season 1 of Cuphead. Or the Cuphead Show, I mean.
We were tricked breaking into that factory.
You're under arrest!
Hey, Chalice is a great friend. Well, if she's so great, how come we never heard from her again?
Hey, it's me, Chalice. I'm sorry I got you tossed in the hooskow.
So many nights in the slammer. The Crowbar Hotel.
The Stony Lonesome. Gee, I had no idea. We can stay here at the boring old cottage, or we can go out into the real world and live. What do you say?
We're in!
Never before have I been subjected to such disrespect by a mortal. Bring me my finest demons! These are my finest demons?
Yeah?
Today is your lucky day.
Because we're gonna have a high seas adventure! We could end up dead.
That, my little blue-nosed friend, is why it's called an adventure.
You have taken something of great value to me, so I shall take something of great value to you.
I ain't too worried about it.
I'll never give up on love!
Your love wants you dead!
Relationships are a series of peaks and valleys.
And that is the new episodes of the Cuphead Show, in which they are going to be coming out on Netflix on August 19th. So, in a few weeks, actually. So it's going to be not far off. Now, I just want to go and state right now that, yes, I have seen the first batch of the Cuphead Show. And by the way, I did mention the second batch of season 1 of the Cuphead Show because technically you probably remember a few months ago the big controversy with how Netflix is cheating their animators on their payments, where technically this, technically they wanted to try to present this as a season 2, but the truth of the matter is that the animators have actually worked on an entire season's worth of the Cuphead Show. However, what Netflix decided to do is that instead of releasing them all at once, they would just release them in 3 different batches. And what we got right now is the one on Netflix currently is the first batch, and what we have seen right here is part of the second batch. And probably in the future, maybe at the end of this year or maybe at the start of 2023, we're going to get the third batch as well. So that's just something that I want to go and clarify. So anyways, back to what I was talking about. Yes, I have seen the first the first batch of the Cuphead Show with all the episodes they put out. And I will admit, like, honestly, it really was a fun show. I'm not going to say like it is absolutely a phenomenal series. I'm not going to say like it's the best animated content you'll ever find on Netflix. But I will say it definitely is a lot of fun. The animation, of course, is absolutely gorgeous. Like, they did as great of a job as the video game people did in terms of making this massive homage to the golden age of animation, like paying tribute to like all the classic cartoons made by Leon Schlesinger and the Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes with Max Fleischer, with Disney. Like, you get all those moments that are like really fun tributes, and you know that they really, and on top of that, like seeing the little adventures with Cuphead and Mugman, they really are a lot of fun. So honestly, it definitely is a really fun and great show. So definitely something that like it made me excited to go and watch more content, especially like when you do see all the little references to like the different elements that did appear in the game. However, I will say, in this trailer that we have seen, I feel like they really did double down on their connection with the Cuphead game, which honestly is quite a coincidence, especially when the Delicious Last Course actually came out not too long ago. So like it did serve up as a bit of a fresh reminder and like to get us excited about Cuphead all over again. And what's very interesting to see is like all the different bosses that you would find in Cuphead, like they would all appear. Like honestly, forgive me by the way that I kind of forgot a lot of their names. Like you got the Candy Queen over here, and then like you got the sea cat. Like of course you also got the captain, like the sea captain as well. Who else? Like you got the actress by, oh geez, you got the actress, by the way. Didn't mean to just put up the jump scare. Even I was unexpected. I didn't expect that. Hey, and good news, we also see we get the comeback of freaking King Dice. Like, oh my god, like, I think it's safe to say that, like, what is easily one of the best things from the Cuphead show was actually King Dice and his episode. Like, probably one big criticism with the Cuphead show was actually the fact that was actually there's not enough King Dice, because like especially Wayne Brady actually did a wonderful performance, so it's great to actually see him back in this. There are others as well, like well, you do have, like you got the Candy Queen and like the giant castle coming to life. There was also the train. The train, it's like right at the beginning, if I do recall. It's like I do remember the train being like right over here. The train is also like this like the ghost train being one of the bosses in there. And then of course we also got Cala Maria. Like we got it's actually very interesting that we do have like apparently one scenario and making a big connection where the sea captain is in love with Cala Maria. And I gotta say, like, I actually do love the joke that they do have, like the one joke that they have at the end over here, or like, hold on, let me just back it up a bit. Like, like this moment.
Upon love.
Your love wants you dead.
Relationships are a series of peaks and valleys.
That I gotta say is actually really, really funny, because like, honestly, I see both sides of the matter. I really do see both sides of this case. Like, on one hand, I definitely do agree with Cuphead and Mugman that, bro needs to get out of that situation, because she wants it, like, she is only interested in killing whoever she sees. That's honestly not a good sign of a nice relationship. You don't want to be in a relationship where you end up dead, like, sooner than you would probably expect in the hands of your lover. So yeah, honestly, I do get that. But then again, I will say with the captain over here, I do like his passion. Like, honestly, I do like how, like, you know, he definitely is head over heels over Cala Maria, and that he really, you know, he definitely is in love, and that even with the aspect of she might kill you, he could easily look over that just to spend the rest of his life with her. Even if the rest of his life could actually be very small. Like, honestly, like, I do love that dedication. And also, on top of that, I do have to say, though, it's Cala Maria, and I don't blame him. I mean, she's hot, though. Honestly, like, this is my Cuphead waifu over here. Like, she's got some nice curves. She has a really cute face. I gotta hand it to her. I gotta hand it to the sea captain. He has great tastes. Honestly, like, okay, maybe the taste can be a little bit questionable because like her personality would definitely need a whole lot of work, but still though, I get it. So it's like, I understand, like, I completely understand and I fully agree with Cuphead and Mugman's sentiments with this, but I understand where the captain is going though. Like, I get it, man. She hot. She's honestly hot. And maybe I'd probably do the same thing. And I mean, it's true, you know, they have like a lot of, like relationships can be pretty complicated. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, I'm a simp and I'm guilty of it. But anyways, overall, I just want to say with what we got here with the new episodes of the Cuphead Show, it really is exciting to see, especially with the fact that it feels like now there is a stronger connection going on between the Cuphead Show, and the Cuphead video games. Especially like if you're a fan of the games, you're definitely going to be you'll definitely be excited to see all the different appearances, cameos, and all the different characters that you love from the games are now going to be coming to life in the series right over here. It looks like it's a lot of fun, and it looks like it's going to deliver us a lot more of what we loved in the Cuphead series. Like the animation still looks absolutely fantastic. It's still brightly colorful. The designs are fantastic as usual. It looks exciting. It looks highly energetic. So honestly, the fact that we are getting more of these episodes, I feel like it is completely great news. And personally, I'm definitely excited to see more episodes of Cuphead. So if you guys are hyped up to see the show, then keep in mind that more episodes are going to be coming on Netflix on August 19th. And with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what do you all think about this trailer for the Cuphead Show? Are you guys excited to see more episodes about it? Are you guys a little bit concerned? Do you have any more questions? Let me know what you all think about this. Okay, let's see what we've got here. I love the first half of the Cuphead Show. It even got me into the game, so I'm more excited about this one. The inclusion of the pirate dude and Calamaria are really cool, and the comedy is still top-notch as ever. So here's hoping it'll be a grand slam and then some. Now I gotta start replaying the game, even if the level designs are total dicks at times. Or the level designers are total dicks at times. Yeah, I understand you there. And honestly, keep in mind, like, it's not the first, like, what we got right now is not the first half. It's actually the first third. As I said before, they're separating the whole batch of Cuphead content that we got. They're splitting it into 3 parts. And right now, this is just the second part. And in the future, we will have a third. Let's see what we got here. As a fan of Cuphead from the game, including the DLC and the first half of the show, is everybody going to say the first half now? Anyways, I am really excited to see the new episodes. I love the animation, the humor, and having the same charm as the first third did. It seems like they are putting more bosses from the original games in, and they all look really cool. And they are really cool to look at. So I am really excited for the second half of the episode, or the second third. But anyways, what do you think? What do you think is the boss that you struggle with the most? Mine is Dr. Wily from Mega Man Lookalike. I can't really say. I have yet to play Cuphead, to be very honest. I'm saving it for a very special occasion. But let's just say that that time is not going to be that long. I'll just put it there. Anyways, let's see. Huzzah! Cuphead continues his Netflix adventures and crazier than ever. It still maintains the 1930s style. The characters are still funny and wacky as before. And the way the trailer ends is pretty hilarious, and I haven't seen the Cuphead Show, but it could honestly be my next BoJack Horseman and Stranger Things, so I'll consider doing so. Well, I don't know if it will be, because with Cuphead, it's a lot more lighthearted than those. Let's see what other comments do we have here. Well, from talking about a struggling movie studio to a struggling streaming service in terms of how the latter treated their animators recently, how much of a coincidence is that? Anyways, I did enjoy the first batch of the Cuphead show, where it was good but not great from this trailer. It looked really good, so I hope it's better than the former previous episode, so I can't wait. Okay, interesting. Let's see. The Cuphead show has so far have been a jolly good show, and this seems to continue that great quality. The animation is amazing as always, the humor is sharp, the characters are a lot of fun, and I do like that they are showing more characters from the game itself. Oh, and one last thing, Matt. The horny police will wait for you after this podcast. Again? I mean, for real, for real though, I mean, how many times have I been freaking horny on this podcast? I mean, the thing is that like, now they're just there, like, like just on schedule. They're like, oh, okay, it's almost 6 o'clock. Time to go to AniMat's place so we can arrest him for being horny again. It's a common thing. I mean, like, we're starting to, me and the horny police, we're starting to get to know each other a little bit, like sometimes having our heart-to-heart moments. Okay, let's see what we got here. I think I'll read one more comment before we jump onto the next story. Let's see. Okay, yeah. I like the Cuphead video game and I like the Cuphead show. I will look forward to more episodes, especially the mermaid, that I am excited to see her fun. I wonder if she will become a good, lovely mermaid in the episode. We need more different animated films of a mermaid. Also, it's good to see King Features Entertainment working on more projects like the Popeye animated film currently in development with Genndy Tartakovsky. Do you still think that's still going on? You still think that that's happening? Even Genndy Tartakovsky himself said that the project is dead. I mean, move on. Popeye is over. Like, you got the animatic. That's it. That's the most you'll get from it. Move on. Like, seriously, there's no Popeye movie. It's dead. It's over. Okay? You know, it's done. Good day, sir. and it's funny you mention, it's like, I hope that Calabaria becomes a very lovely mermaid. I do like to see more, I want to see more animated mermaids. And I mean, yeah, she is a beautiful girl. I do agree. But are you sure you want more animated mermaids like this? You sure though? Because like, yeah, there's like, this is one thing. This, however, it's like, nah, I'm good, dog. I'm good. I don't know. Again, it's just like with, it's just like the sea captain said, it's like the whole situation with the sea captain. It's like, yeah, I mean, like, I get this, but you also got to consider this. I'm just saying, guys. But anyways, once again, if you guys are excited for the Cuphead show to come out with the new episodes, then keep in mind it will be coming on Netflix on August 19th. Hold on a sec. Let me just... Okay, so moving right along to our next story, what we got here is not a trailer, but actually a first look. Now, this is actually going to be showing us more of a clip that actually first appeared at the same time as its announcement when it happened not too long ago at the Adult Swim Festival. Or at least that's what I think it's called. I'll correct myself later. But with that said, we're going to be in for a special treat with this one. Actually, I don't know if it is going to be a special treat because I'm going to be very honest. I'm going to be like you guys, or probably some of you guys, and this is going to be my first time watching it. So you'll get like a fresh first impression look onto this. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out our first look at Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm. Okay, and that was a clip from the Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm movie. Yes, there is indeed going to be a brand new Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie in which it will be coming out direct to home media in 4K and Blu-ray on November 8th of this year. And like I said before, this is my first time watching it, and oh my god, like holy crap, like I was honestly I was kind of blown away by this, because the one thing that I am shocked is the fact that this is so well animated. Like, seriously, this is like, okay, with Aqua Teen Hunger Force, you don't necessarily think about top-notch animation. Like, yeah, there are probably a few times where you see, like, you know, some like really impressive animation, like just in like really short bursts. But this clip, it's like really making the most out of like the top potential of what Aqua Teen Hunger Force could do. Like, honestly, it's just shocking to see like the epic battle action, like the epic action that you see with this mutated Carl that has turned into John Carpenter's The Thing. And honestly, even surprising of the fact, like, there is still some of that Aqua Teen humor that we know and love, especially from the personalities like with Shake and Meatwad and Fry. But like, a lot of this seems to be it seems to be very action oriented. And I don't know, like with this clip, I gotta say, like, there are a few things, like thinking about the context of Aqua Teen Hunger Force in general, like it makes me wonder, like with what we just saw, is it like a dream sequence? Is it just something that's only is it something like that's only based in Master Shake's fantasies? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But the reason why I asked that is like right at the end when Master Shake like says his goodbyes to the crew.
Guys, say hi to Earth for me.
We'll never forget you, Shake.
And when you get down there, tell my wife I love her.
Okay, man.
Okay, like, honestly, at that point, that's when I start to question, like, okay, hold on a sec, man. Did you say your wife? Since when are you married? And who would want to marry Master Shake out of all people? So, yeah, like, honestly, I don't know, like, what the whole context is. Again, this is nothing more but a first look at Aqua Teen Hunger Force Plantasm, and maybe there's going to be a lot more of an explanation when the movie does come out in November. But still, though, I gotta say that regardless of what the context is, it still doesn't change the fact that the action sequence that they put out here is honestly amazing. Like, it definitely is action-packed, and I would say better than most animated films that actually came out today. Like, this is actually some, like, epic action, like, even compared to, like, some of the recent crap that came out, like, compared to, like, Hotel Transylvania, Transformania, or Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank, or even just recently compared to Luck. Like, those are just boring compared to what we have just seen with Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm. That actually, it seems actually pretty amazing. It's very fast paced. It's well structured. It's pretty awesome. And honestly, like, I gotta say, one thing for me that I feel absolutely shocked about is actually regarding the fact that amongst everything that you have seen, that it actually makes Master Shake look pretty cool. And that's something I never thought I would actually say, because, like, usually with Master Shake, he's known as an absolute dickbag. You know, it's like, he's one of those characters that, yeah, like, it's fun to laugh at, like, whatever expense that Shake is facing, or, like, whatever stupid things that he would say, but he's not someone that anyone should aspire to be. But in here, like, you see Master Shake, like, he is undeniably, like, the most awesome guy, like, especially see Master Shake actually being selfless and actually helping out his crewmates, like, actually helping out Frylock and helping out Meatwad. So honestly, overall, I am very much impressed with what they are delivering. And, like, even if they would have even if this is not a trailer, like, honestly, this is actually convincing me pretty well to actually go and watch this for myself. Like, I'm actually really curious to what they have in store. Like, I know that, like, very recently, Adult Swim has been doing like a small comeback with Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That they're doing like all these short little clips on Adult Swim where they're bringing back many of these like minor villains that has appeared throughout the show. Even on the side, like you actually do see like a few examples. Like you see hand bananas coming back, or in fact, you know what? Let's actually go into let's actually go into the Adult Swim channel, because like they'll have better examples. But you actually do see where is it? Just want to see. Yeah. No. There's probably a section. There's probably they must have hold on. They probably have a playlist where you actually do see like the Aqua Teen stuff. Yeah, here. Yeah, the Aquadonk side pieces. Yeah, with the hold on a sec. No, I don't want to see all of it. No, go away. No. Yeah, full playlist. So just looking at the full playlist, like they have the return of like you know, like you got hand bananas, like you got like the two yes, the moon, like you got the moon people, like you got the rapping spider, like you got the return of all these characters, and like they really do feel like additional new episodes of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So they're doing a great job with bringing back those old characters, and like now seeing a grand return of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, it really does give me great confidence. As someone who used to watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and after watching that, I'm genuinely excited to what they have in store with that. So honestly, I don't know what's going to be happening. I don't know the context of that whole thing, but if you are excited to go and check out Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm, keep in mind that it is going to be released on 4K and Blu-ray on November 8th. And with that said, I'd like to go into the chat wall. I want to ask you all, what did you think about Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm and its first look? Are you guys excited to go and check this out? Especially if you are someone who've watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I want to know your thoughts on this whole thing. Let's see. Well, it looks like the Aqua Teen Hunger Force gang will truly be forever. This was my first view as well, and yeah, the animation got a massive upgrade, and it truly shows. Besides that, the characters and humor feel like they will be great as always. I'm really excited to see when this comes out. Also, if it weren't for my parents sleeping, that final part would make me roar with laughter. Oh yeah, absolutely. I completely get you there. Okay, let's see. Okay, what the hell did I just watch? I've never watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but this was honestly amazing. I love the animation, I love the action, and I think Master Shake looks freaking awesome. Maybe when I turn 17, I'll see this for myself, but for now, I will say this honestly. Hand bananas. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Oh boy, oh. Dude, I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows. Yeah, hand bananas is a funny thing to say, but I don't think he knows about who Hand Bananas is, because y'all don't want to mess with Hand Bananas. Ooh, he's dangerous. I'm just gonna put it out there. Yeah, and I see someone even mentioning cue the Mr. Incredible meme. Yeah, it's something like that. Let's see. Love Aqua Teen so much, but this movie looks pretty awesome. Seeing this show is in better animation quality looks amazing by comparison. I think I might pick up a copy of the movie on 4K and Blu-ray once it's out, and I'm glad this show is coming back in any form. Oh yeah, I definitely do understand that. Let's see. I really like this first look. I've seen one episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, so I don't think I can make a true judgment call. As for Shake having a wife, it's probably a dream, and I have one thing to say. Ground control to Major Tom. Your circuit's dead. There's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? All right. Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of comments here, so I think I'll read one more comment before we go into the grand finale. I saw that Aqua Teen Hunger Force series before, and I never, as it is not my cup of tea, but I am aware of its popularity. From this trailer, I say it is impressive upon my first viewing. I won't likely get it either on Blu-ray or 4K, as I'm not familiar with it, but I think many fans will enjoy it. So yeah, if you guys are interested in checking out Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm, then keep in mind that the movie will be coming out directly on 4K and Blu-ray on November 8th. And now this is it. After our entire discussion with Warner Brothers Discovery and more trailers, it is now time. Well, that timing wasn't that great, but it is time for the grand finale. And for this finale, we're going to talk about an announcement that happened last week. Now, this was honestly something that at first, many people speculated that it was only a rumor, that it was only an idea that some random website was bringing up, and there was no way that they would actually go and do this. But it actually turns out, nope, it's actually quite true, and, well, and I do see a lot of people are mentioning, oh, is it the Pac-Man movie? And yes, I know that they have recently announced that there is going to be a Pac-Man movie, a live-action Pac-Man movie, but no, that is not necessarily it. This was actually something that was actually announced last week, just after the last episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, where a lot of Disney fans have some massive mixed feelings. Welcome, foolish mortals, because we got some Haunted Mansion news. Now, you guys probably do know that in 2023, in March of next year, I believe, there is going to be another film adaptation of the classic Disney attraction, The Haunted Mansion. And already right now, they have already revealed several actors who are going to be amongst the cast, and it already has a pretty big list of celebrities that are in there, including Rosario Dawson, Lakeith Stanfield, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, and Tiffany Haddish. However, from the description of it, it sounds like all these actors are just going to be playing original characters. They're not necessarily going to be playing the famous ghosts that are in the mansion in the first place. So you might be wondering, is Disney actually going to go out of their way and actually hire some recognizable celebrities to play as the ghosts? Or are the spirits going to be taking minor roles and they'll just be making like small cameos popping up here and there, much like what we have seen with the recent Jungle Cruise movie? Well, apparently the former seems to be the answer, because according to this one website called One Take News, in which I lifted here from my source on Entertainment Weekly, they have revealed two prominent actors who will be playing some famous characters in the attraction. The first of which is going to be Jamie Lee Curtis, in which she is going to be playing the woman in the crystal ball, Madame Leota. So you probably do remember, like, if you guys know the ride, you're probably familiar with who Madame Leota is. She is the one, she is the sidekick whom you see her head in the crystal ball making chants as she's acting like one of the head honchos of the mansion. And then there is Jared Leto. Yes, fresh off of his two-time box office bomb, Morbius, they're going to be bringing in Jared Leto to play another popular character in the attraction, and that's going to be none other than the Hatbox Ghost. Now, for those of you who don't know who the Hatbox Ghost is, he's actually a very popular character, kind of has his own following amongst Disney fans, and that's actually because for the longest time, he was considered like an urban legend. Like ever since the very beginning, during production when they wanted to make the ride, probably even back when Walt Disney was alive, they wanted to include a ghost character in which he would be like dressed up like as this Victorian madman, you know, a bit like a Jack the Ripper style look, and he has the ability to teleport his head from his shoulders to the Hatbox that he would go and carry, thus giving him the name the Hatbox Ghost. However, throughout the mansion's entire lifetime, that ghost never actually appeared. There was some evidence when the Imagineers tried to actually bring him to life, or to his spiritual life, but you get what I mean. But he never actually appeared, and for the longest time, the Hatbox Ghost became Disney's most popular ghost story. He was like a real-life urban legend. But then it wasn't until in 2015 for Disneyland's 60th anniversary when the Imagineers decided that their technology is successfully advanced enough where they can convincingly execute the effect that they wanted to pull off. And thus the Hatbox Ghost officially made his debut at Disneyland in 2015. Now, there have been rumors that speculated that the Hatbox Ghost would probably appear in the future in other Disney parks that has their own mansion, like probably in Walt Disney World, or maybe in Tokyo Disneyland, or in Disneyland Paris or whatever. But for now, he is just a Disneyland exclusive. He only resides in California. And it looks like from all of that, Jared Leto is going to play the role. Now, first things first that I want to go and clarify is that there is a strong possibility that this is still considered a rumor. Because again, the only website that has reported on this is a website called One Take News. And honestly, I've never heard of this website before. But it looks like Entertainment Weekly has so far been the only website to have actually gone and confirmed this. They even have mentioned, it actually stated here that Entertainment Weekly has confirmed with a source close to the production that both actors will participate in director Justin Simeon's new movie adaptation of the classic attraction, which operates in various versions at the parks in California, Florida, France, and Japan. So, like, Entertainment Weekly seems to be the only one to have legitimately confirmed it, but it still honestly feels a bit suspicious that you haven't heard other websites to go and actually confirm this. Like, we haven't heard either Deadline or Variety or The Hollywood Reporter or The Wrap actually come out with a confirmation that both these actors would actually appear in the ride. Not to mention that not even on their social media did they actually confirm anything. Like, we haven't heard Jamie Lee Curtis or Jared Leto actually say anything about this news or even possibly share this article on Entertainment Weekly around. Maybe they're just waiting for like a proper official announcement next month at D23. That is a high possibility. But for now, it does feel a little bit suspicious. I'm not doubting Entertainment Weekly as a source, but I don't know. It just feels a little bit off. And for now, like, you know, it is fair to still consider this maybe a rumor, but kind of confirmed. So yeah, it is a little complicated, but still kind of weird that it's not making its rounds as much as you probably expect. But anyways, going into the casting themselves, like now actually talking about the actors, Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota. This right over here, that I think is a wonderful idea. I think that's actually a really smart move. I mean, you get the woman who is considered the scream queen herself to actually go appear and play a prominent character like Madame Leota. I think it is absolutely genius. And not to mention with Jamie Lee Curtis, like, she is a great actor. Like, even in recent years, she has proven that she still has it. She still has those amazing acting chops, like either in Knives Out or even in the recent Halloween movies. Like, honestly, she would be such an amazing fit. Like, not only because of her background, but because of the acting capabilities that she has. I think she would honestly make an epic Madame Leota. So honestly, that casting over there, I find that to be honestly, I find that to be great. And then there's Jared Leto. Jared freaking Leto coming in playing as the Hatbox Ghost. Why? Yeah, I just need to ask. Why? Whose idea was it to bring in Jared Leto so that he could go and perform the Hatbox Ghost? Oh boy, like, have you not, like, you know, honestly, I remember it was actually Mr. Coat who actually best described this, where it honestly makes no sense. Like, yes, he was an Oscar-winning actor, but in recent years, Jared Leto has not really been a name that would really come and attract people to go and watch their movies. And there have been some prominent examples of that. And not to mention the fact, like, his career didn't get like a massive boost after his Oscar win. Like, you don't see him frequently popping up in almost every movie like Kevin Hart or Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Every time he would appear, he would prominently appear in a movie, it would always be some weird questionable performance, like what he did with what he did with the Joker in Suicide Squad. And I would even say, like, even with Zack Snyder's Justice League, like, even that performance is honestly questionable, where he's portraying himself as freaking Jesus. Like, that thing is, like, again, say what you will about Zack Snyder's Justice League, but that image alone is honestly kind of laughable. And not to mention, even recently with Morbius, the fact that honestly it has really proven the public's perception of Jared Leto, and like, they're not really fans of him, where like really the whole meme that's been going on with It's Morbin Time, it really is for the purpose of laughing at Jared Leto and the movie and not in support of it, which is why the re-release turned out to be a massive failure as it is. And debatably, the whole Morphin Time meme kind of died when he started to participate in it. And one thing that I will say right now that I'm really dreading is like those people who are still continuing the memes. Oh boy, I've already seen some people online, they're still going at it. Like, now they're doing mansion variations of it. Now saying like, it's boxing time, it's Hatbox time, it's, oh my God. And I could even say right now, it's going to be a nightmare when you're going to see, like, it's going to be a nightmare when all those like wannabe influencers are going to go into the mansion. Like, they're going to go to Disneyland, they ride the mansion, they'll meet up with the Hatbox Ghost, and they'll try to, they'll try to be funny, and they'll be like, hey, it's hey, check it out, guys, it's Morbid time. Hey guys, check it out, it's Jared Leto. Hey, what's up, Jared Leto? Like, you're gonna get those freaking people. Oh my God. It's also going to be a freaking night. Imagine for that animatronic, imagine for the freaking Hatbox Ghost, how he's going to feel to endure that every single day. Like, I could just honestly imagine, like, honestly descending even more into madness. Like, oh boy, now, I'm honestly method acting, just like Jared Leto. If I'm going to become the Hatbox Ghost, I need to die and become a spirit first. No, but in all seriousness, if I hear one more mortal tell me that it's either Morphin Time or calls me Jared, I will ensure that there will be 1,000th ghost inside this mansion, and it will happen much sooner than you may expect. There will be a name, and I already got a box with that person's name on it, whomever it may be. Yeah, I don't know what the Hatbox Ghost will sound like, but it would be probably something like that. I don't know if that's what Jared Leto's going to do, but yeah. Honestly, that casting overall, though, I just find to be a complete disaster. And by the way, I just want to go and point out something. The thing is that I know that right over here, there are going to be some people who might be a little bit upset or might be a little bit tired. And by the way, I just got a little bit distracted because I don't know why the fridge, I just keep talking, and I see in the bottom corner that there was like Jordan Peele just chatting. It's like, what the fridge are you doing here? But anyways, I know there are probably some people who might be a bit upset and a little bit tired of the whole Jared Leto backlash. Like, I commented on this on social media, and some people are wondering, why are people still mad at Jared Leto? Like, just because he did a few bad performances, like with Joe, like, because it's been a whole meme to make fun of Jared Leto with Joker or with Morbius, like that, he's still a good actor. I mean, like, some people are telling me to stop making fun of him because he's an Oscar-winning actor. And I'm just going to say, if you're going to use that Academy Award as an excuse to stop making fun of Jared Leto, let me just say that, yes, he did win an Oscar, and so did Kevin Spacey. In fact, he won 2 of them, yet I don't see you telling me to stop hating on Kevin Spacey for the freaking obvious reasons. And the thing is with Jared Leto, I just want to go and ask you all this. Do you really think that the hatred against Jared Leto really is because of, do you really think it really is because of his performances? Like, do you really think it's just because of Suicide Squad and with Morbius? Like, I want to ask the chat wall. I want to know what you guys, do you really think that's the only reason why people are hating Jared Leto? I want to know, guys. I want to know. I mean, come on, guys, don't be shy. Don't be shy. I don't know if it's just the chat wall that's taking a while. Let's see. And one person says yes. One person says no. One person says don't think so. Okay, so apparently we got a bit of a mixed results. So generally it looks like some people are saying, okay. So generally it seems like no, and I don't think so. There you go. Exactly. There is much more that's going on to the hatred of Jared Leto than you think. And it's not related to the movies. Like, people would go and give Jared Leto a pass if it is regarding, like, just his performances, like, if it's only about, like, if it's just Suicide Squad and Morbius, he would get a pass. I mean, like, people still give a pass to Patrick Stewart, and he was in the Emoji Movie. But the thing is, the big reason why Jared Leto is so hated is because of who he is as a person. Like, number one, the method acting. The method acting nowadays is considered a highly controversial and an increasingly hated tactic in order to go and act. Because nowadays, it's pretty much perceived as just a stupid excuse to be mean-spirited and to act like a jerk on set. And that's the big thing with Jared Leto, is that he is actually pretty infamous for giving everyone a hard time during these productions because of his entire method acting. And I believe it was Robert Pattinson earlier this year who actually said it best, that method acting is completely bullcrap because you never actually see someone method act as a good person. And that's the problem with Jared Leto, is that honestly, he's just being complicated on set and giving everyone a hard time because of the fact that, because of the fact that he's trying to be a thespian. He's trying to be an actor. But no, it's just nothing more but to be a privileged douchebag on set. And that's pretty much it. But then there is also the factor, and there are some stuff that actually gets a lot crazier, like his cult. And I'm not saying that he has a cult to insult his fan base. I'm not saying that people who like Jared Leto are in a cult. I actually mean that quite literally, where Jared Leto actually has his own private island. And I don't know if he does that nowadays. I don't know if he's still doing it. But Jared Leto actually has his own island where he runs his own cult. Like, you see people walking around wearing white robes, reenacting Midsommar and all that crazy stuff. Like, it has really, like, it can be really that bad. And there have been some in fact, let me go and find you some, actually. There have actually been some photographic evidence of Jared Leto's own cult. And it's as crazy as it sounds. So let me just go and find it. Yeah, right over here. Like, you see stuff like this. Like, you see, like, all these crazy things. Like, you see this going on. Like, you see everyone is all dressed up in white. A lot of these are a lot of which I notice, like, the grand majority are women. Yeah, and like, you see, here he is. Here's Jared Leto talking to his entire cult. Everyone casually dressed up in white. It's ridiculous. This is legitimately a thing that Jared Leto has. And here's here's a lovely group photo of Jared Leto's people on his island. Yeah, that's a whole thing that's been going on. I don't know if that's still a thing happening, but that is actually something that that is a massive part of Jared Leto's history, is the fact that he legitimately ran this crazy cult, or is still or that he still has this crazy cult that's going on. Like, whenever he's not in a movie, whenever he's not performing in his band, he is on his island with his crazy cult. And also, not to mention that there have been some very dark allegations against Jared Leto. What kind of allegations? I'd rather not say. Like, I'm just gonna, like, honestly, this is the part that I encourage you to go and do your own research for this. But yeah, like, and this is also heavily related to the cult right over here, because like some of the allegations actually happened during his cult, but they are the worst kind, and they honestly should be they should be the kind that should legitimately be it should be re-inspected. Honestly, authorities should double check on what Jared Leto is doing at his cult, because you notice that there have been a lot of women in there of varying age, and it's related to what he would do with some of these women. I'm just gonna leave it at that, and I'll leave you to go and do your own research. So, with all that said, the backlash and the hatred related to Jared Leto has nothing really to do with his performances in, like, as like the Joker or as Morbius or anything like that. The thing is that with Jared Leto, he's just been a very questionable human being. Like, it's pretty much at the point where he can be fairly comparable to Ezra Miller. Maybe debatably not as bad as Ezra Miller, but he is he is kind of like in that category. He is Ezra Miller light. And I feel like with Jared Leto, it's like the more news that you may hear about him outside of his movie works, the worse that it could possibly be about the guy. And Disney might end up in another Flash scenario if they still have him on board for the mansion playing as the Hatbox Ghost. Honestly, I feel like that's the kind of casting where it's going to be a lot more problematic for them than it would do good. And I would not be surprised if in the long run, this will end up biting Disney in the ass later. So overall, I just feel like there's just massive mixed feelings with this. While I do completely agree with having Jamie Lee Curtis playing as Madame Leota, just having Jared Leto on board and playing an iconic Disney character like the Hatbox Ghost, I feel like it's going to cause a lot more problems than it actually would do good. So overall, it's just it's just something that is very concerning, and I even do see a lot of Disney fans that have been pretty vocal with their disapproval with the casting of Jared Leto. So honestly, I would not be surprised if this would immediately spell bad news for the Disney movie. Maybe we're going to go and get a lot more information coming soon next month with the D23 Expo coming. But yeah, honestly, all this has just been pretty crazy. And keep in mind that the movie is going to be coming out, I believe, in March 10th of 2023. So we'll see how it goes. But I don't know, man. I just don't know. Okay. By the way, I forgot to mention, sorry about this, but I almost forgot. Now it's time to ask you all, how do you feel about the casting of Jared Leto and Jamie Lee Curtis in the upcoming Mansion movie? Do you guys approve of this? Are you excited for both of them? Do you have any concerns? Let me know what you all think. Okay, let's see now. This is a mixed bag for me. On one hand, I can see Jamie Lee Curtis doing well as Madame Leota, giving her return back to horror roots like the Halloween films. For example, For Jared Leto, oh hell no. He has been nothing but a polarizing actor with the questionable choices he has done in the 2016 Suicide Squad film and recently Morbius. And don't get me started with the behind-the-scenes look at his method acting, which even Tropic Thunder pokes fun of. If he is in there, please no more memes. Oh no, man. Let's see. Oh, someone even mentioned, I saw Ezra Miller has been accused of grooming minors and leading a cult. Oh God, you are right, Matt. Yeah. So did Jared Leto. On both accounts. See, like, for some people are like confused and they're like, it's like, which one are you like, what allegations are you talking about? Those ones specifically. Let's see now. What other comments? No, I've already, I haven't read this one. Jared Leto has a pretty rough career, first playing often considered the weakest cinematic Joker in 2016 Suicide Squad and the Snyder Cut, then winning a Razzie Award for his performance in The House of Gucci, and even this year starring in a memeable Spider-Man-less spin-off movie that bombed. Plus, the casting is debatably on par with Chris Pratt as Mario. However, Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota, okay, that's cool. But I'm not all that excited for this Mansion movie, so count me out. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how people are going to react to this, but honestly, it's going to be hard to see this becoming really big with people. I think this is going to be I think the outcome is going to turn out more as a Tomorrowland, more so than a Pirates of the Caribbean or even the Jungle Cruise. Let's see now. What else do we have here? Reading the whole Jared Leto being casted in the Mansion movie, holy crap, that is completely insane, including seeing pictures of his cult on his private island. And considering how Jared Leto is laughed and hated, I was wondering if South Park will make fun of him and his cult. I mean, I guess it will depend. If Jared Leto is in the news again with other insane shenanigans, I think South Park will really dive into this. Let's see. What other comments do we have? We don't necessarily have a whole lot. Do we have one more comment? Do we have someone who would like to go and share their piece in this? Anybody would like to go and talk? No? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Yeah, possibly. No? Okay. Yes, no. All right. There. Good. All right. Well, I think that settles it then. I mean, we've had one heck of an episode, and I think that should be enough to conclude this right over here. And that should do it for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. What an episode it was. And I'm glad all that research about the Warner Brothers Discovery debacle has finally paid off. And I want to say thank you all so much for joining me on this. And also, I would like to remind you all that if you guys would like to go and watch AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast live on Twitch without any interruption from the ads, then don't forget to go and subscribe. Also, please don't forget to go and subscribe to the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel and follow me on your podcast provider, whether it be on Apple, on Google Play, on Spotify, or whatever. So with all that said and done, thank you all so much for watching. Tune in for more madness happening in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. You never know what craziness will occur, just like what happened with Warner Brothers Discovery. And with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.